quickly, but you will tend to find that the big one, who is the black one with the white face mark on him, he's quite a bit bigger than the others. He's also a little bit more advanced, so his teeth are a bit more through, which means he's actually got weapons and some of the others haven't, because they've got little peggies, and he's got proper little sharp needly teeth. And we were saying today, if you see the big one ragging one of the little ones, can you tell him no? Generally, you need to be the mother of the puppies, and that is to scruff it when it's being a little bit too naughty and say no. If an animal bites another animal, then it will squeal and go away. So from a point of view training, if an animal bites you, even if it's in play, and you go and go away from it, you are behaving in a way that they understand, because you're moving away from the threat of being bitten. It's really important that they stay together for another few weeks. If you separate them out before about 6 to 7 weeks, you miss the sensitization period by which they properly socialise with each other. And that's a problem if you have to hand raise one on its own, because they don't learn how to beat dogs properly. If they miss out on that sensitive period when they actually learn to socialise with dogs and you take them away too soon, they can end up with quite substantial behavioural problems. One of the behaviours that we used to see in the dog rescue was animals that have been separated too soon become actually quite aggressive, or can become aggressive, because they are nervous or frightened, or they become dog aggressive because they don't understand what the other dog is saying to them. They don't understand the language. So they're talking puppy, and the dog doesn't understand it because they've been with humans too soon. Okay? So it is a very important period that they go through sensitization period, and then they need to go through socialization with humans, because we are a whole different animal and very confused. Okay? If you have a look at the temperament testing for puppies was developed really in about the 1940s, largely for guide dogs for the blind. They knew that you could train a dog to guide somebody who was blind, and they'd done it, but they had a very, very, very high dropout rate. And one of the reasons they had a high dropout rate, they figured, was because the puppies weren't the right type. They were either too independent or they were too dependent. So they couldn't make a decision because they were frightened of getting it wrong, or they were actually so independent they couldn't be bothered to lead the person. Go ahead.
Now, is there any time to borrow your Facebook number?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
So, temperament testing, have a look in Guide Dogs for Blind. It's all on there on the internet. Have a look at the web. How do you test whether a puppy is going to be a good one? How do you select? Because there's a tendency. This is what happens. People select by the Okay. They don't select by the correct protocols. If you have one that is very bold and keeps and is aggressive, you need to know exactly what you're going to do with that puppy to stop it getting unaggressive. Okay? So, generally speaking, the best sort of puppies that you want are the ones that are in between. The ones that don't rush towards you, and the ones that don't hang back. But the ones that have a look at you and think about it and then come forward. And the ones that aren't necessarily aggressive and that aren't cowering with fear. The ones who cower, or the ones who are very, very nervous, you can have tremendous problems with nervous aggression with those ones. A dog that is very nervous is usually more dangerous than the dog that is outright aggressive.